Activists also highlight the official NHS webpage with essential instructions is available only in English, the same as the PM's daily conferences. For more on this, I'm now joined by a member of the government's steering group on adoption, Shadim Hussain. Shadim, thank you for joining us this evening. Let's look at this problem then. It apparently, as we've seen by the analysis here, mainly arises with many generations living under the same roof, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I guess, different communities have different dynamics and structures of families, and it's quite common within the South Asian and particularly Muslim communities to be living in extended families. It's not typical that elderly people will be in care homes, for example, and therefore, the extended family will tend to live under one roof. And as I clearly highlighted in the report, that does pose clear risks for such family structures.
Indeed. Well, also the risks that you highlight also apply to other religious and social groups as well, aren't there, that are very family orientated? We could also say that about Catholic families and also Jewish families too.
Absolutely, yeah. It's not something that's limited to the Muslim community. Obviously, given my work and given the fact that I live in Bradford, which has a 25% Muslim population, over 125,000 people, it's been a significant concern for us here at a local level to ensure that those who are engaging within the community, mosque leadership, in particular, have the support and information they need as to why it is so important that we put these boundaries in place to help protect lives, essentially.
Indeed. Do you think people will still try to hold religious gatherings or even groupings in private homes under these circumstances?
Yeah, I think, it's a very emotive subject. And given that, faith is a spiritual healing, and those who do attend the mosque, some will argue that in these circumstances where stress levels are so high and things are so difficult, that essentially we should be going to the mosque because it's a place of social interaction and it's a place for us to essentially discuss our concerns and pray and have solitude. So it's a very emotive subject, and some will understand, but some will still be quite emotionally attached. As you may know that it's Muslims pray 5 times a day, so practicing Muslims will attend the mosque 5 times a day. And just imagine somebody who's done that for years upon years. It's part of their social fabric, it's part of how they engage with their community and their neighbours. So it's a very difficult habit to break. And
it's also, as you say, something that particularly pertains to the older generation as well in terms of their habits. So how do we convince the older generation to isolate? I mean, we know that many simply aren't, and we don't want to face a situation like Italy, do we?
No, and of course, I think Italy's it's devastating to see what's going on there, but it's a really good example and a case study for us, where it's a European country, so they have the type of infrastructure, technology, hospitals. It's not the third world, and we can see the crisis and the suffering that's going on there. And Italians, of course, as people, they're family-oriented people. They spend a lot of time eating together and socializing and such like. And I think there's similar parallels between, Sicilian families and Pakistani Muslim families in Bradford, where we do congregate, we do spend a lot of time together. And we have a real concern that, with the infrastructure challenges that we already know exist in hospital, if there is an outbreak, it really could be devastating.
Indeed. Finally then, Shadim, do you think there is a language barrier? And also, could modern technology help get the message across? And do faith leaders, wrapping all of those things together, need to do more?
Yeah, I think it's really important to highlight to you that work that actually is going on in Bradford. I've never seen community come together like this before. I mean, we have the leadership of the council, VCS organisations, people of different faith groups. I mean, we launched an app yesterday to recruit volunteers to help support those people through this crisis. And within 24 hours, we've had 300 applicants. The council opened up a phone line yesterday to register volunteers. And within 6 hours in an evening, we had an additional 100 people. So we have a very well-structured and a fluid movement here in Bradford, where the community is coming together. Yeah. And we're very hopeful by working together on this, we will see a successful outcome. And the need to provide cultural and faith literacy to mosques and different communities of different languages. We have a sizable refugee population here, and it's very important to mention, often when we talk about South Asian and Muslim communities, people will highlight, well, some of us have been here decades.
While others are people who are coming in and also have to be considered. Absolutely. Sorry, Shadim, we're running out of time here. Shadim Hussain, thank you very much, though, for joining us this evening.
Yeah, bye.